Alright, previously we found out that the oil pan here drags too low to the ground when put in the car. Kind of knew that would happen. I've seen that on two other cars I've been involved with LS swapping. So rather than try to weld something onto this pan and make it shorter, and seeing how bad I am at welding aluminum, not sure if that video's come out yet or not, but I'm failing at it. I thought I'd blow some budget and get this oil pan over here from TSP. It's $270-ish shipped. Comes with new gasket, has drain back plugs, should be low profile. I hope it fits. Looks kind of like a copy of the Holley 302-3 or whatever that part number is. Let's see how it goes. Oh, and as long as I got to pull the oil pan off, I might as well gap the rings. Richard Holdner's been harping on everybody about how you need to gap your rings if you're going for boost. I've seen a lot of people gap their rings to the minimum, I guess, required amount, but I'm not a professional tuner, and the guys on YouTube don't seem to be either, and they're still breaking ring lands. So I'm just going to go 30 thousandths top and bottom, and if it burns a little oil, oh well, at least I'm not picking rods up off the ground. Intake is off. I've got the high performance 4-corner water bleeds or air bleeds, whatever those are, and even higher performance corn, and an O-ring. I don't know what that's from, but maybe I should collect that, make sure I don't lose it. If you guys have beer tents in your area during the county fair season, these are a great way to store parts. Better than distributor caps, they hold more. It looks like I really do have a 5.3. I got dished pistons. Let me get some light and see if those bores look alright. Looks pretty nice to me.
I want to go back to the house.
No, we're working on an engine. Engines are fun. Ooh, dropped a little bit of garbage in there. And there. That is mouse crap. What are you doing? Don't knock over the engine parts.
Look over there.
You're not helping. You gonna put it back up?
Yeah.
Good job, thanks. Thumbs up.
I want to try.
I think that's pretty good for a day. Got a bunch of the bottom end taken apart. I still got to pull these connecting rods out, and I should probably grab my instructions. All right. So, what was I saying? Yeah, pull these pistons out and then grind some rings off of them and get a good amount of gap so that when I screw up tuning, and you can tell I will because you've seen some of the old engines I've played with, maybe it won't be catastrophic. Alright, that'll do it for this one. I'm glad I got this catch pan, but man, this antifreeze smells pretty bad. Anyway, I stuffed a piston ring in there and shoved it down with the number 1 piston. There's a gap right up there. I want to set all those gaps to 30 thousandths on every piston ring. So I'm going to have to slowly work my way through and get to it. So that was the first one. I only took off 1 ring, so it's not the final spot to have the gap at, but I took the top ring out of this piston here, if you can see that. And I tried to measure the gap. I can't even read the numbers on my feeler gauges anymore. They're too rusty. I can see number 10 there, so if I assume everything goes in increments of 1, I was able to put in 18 and 12, but I couldn't put in 18 and 13. So I can fit 30 thousandths, but I can't fit 31. Problem is, I don't really trust that the numbers I'm guessing are right on this feeler gauge. So next best thing is, will a business card fit? Good enough for government work. And this thing was already boost ready. I went through all the rings on this motor to see if I needed to add gap, and I didn't. They're all over 30 thousandths already, so didn't have to file a thing. Just for reference, I'll show you what I had. Maybe that'll come in handy later if something blows up, but it's pretty nice to not have to go and do anything. A worn out motor is just ready to go. Today's goal is to put the rods and pistons back in. I went looking up what to retorque stock rod bolts to, watching Matt Happel work on his 997 horse motor for the Colorado, and he was testing out his torque on the bolts, and it was all 50 to 55 foot-pounds, and he said, just do that and Uncle Matty says you'll be alright. But if Uncle Matty's wrong, Uncle Rodney will come to visit. So I'm going to clean up my pistons, clean off the rods. I already wiped the bores out. I'm going to put a little bit of used engine oil on there from my last oil change. And if I can get some assembly grease, I'll put this stuff on the bearings. I think I bought this for the first engine I ever built, so this is probably expired. If it just comes out like mustard water, I'll know why. Scratch that, I just remembered this oil actually came out of the oil pan from this engine that's been sitting here for 3 years. So that'll still be good enough. It was oil, and the motor looked good inside. Here's what the bearings looked like. Not too bad. So they're going back in. Grease came out okay. Get the rings compressed. Get the finger slicer, 9,000. I'll tap them in. Got the crank throw down at the bottom. We've got the dot forward. Crap. Well, the struggles begin. I think I'll pull that back out and reseat that bearing. Gotta see this. That bearing fell off and stuck to the crank. I think I'll just try to line it up and push the piston the rest of the way down onto that. There it is. I'm going to clean that crank a little bit. There's some dirt on there. Push that bearing back around where it should be and put the cap on. Master built. First I'm going to 15 foot-pounds, then I'll turn it up to 52 foot-pounds. We'll go with that. .52, I don't know if you can see that, but final torque. The 20 foot-pounds was kind of nothing, so I'll just snug these and then go straight to the 52 foot-pounds. Cylinder 2 done. Oh, disaster struck. I had this piston sitting up here and it fell off the truck and it landed right there. And where did it happen? Maybe this side? Yeah. I don't know if you can see that top ring gap, but it's pinched. I can't fit the piston ring back in. So all that cockiness didn't pay off. Yeah, there's the edge that took the hit. And I can fit my ring in until about there. And it doesn't fit until there again. So I gotta find a 3rd gen piston and rod. Dumb. Alright, so last thing you saw happen was, let's see here, 2-4. Cylinder number 4, I broke the piston by just like the connecting rod tipped and then the whole thing flipped over right out of my tailgate onto the cement. So I moved on and just put in cylinder 5. Now I'm putting in cylinder 6. And after I was done, I saw a little chunk of metal here, so I pulled it back out. And I broke a piston ring, so I must not have had that thing quite squared up when I rammed it in. And I thought, bummer, now I need 2 pistons. But then I realized I still have another piston ring on the first piston I broke, so I'll use that one and keep trucking on. Found a nicer set that I can actually read the numbers on. Start with 30. Fits in nice and loose. 35 is a nice snug fit. I think I'm going to call that 35 thousandths. That's the second ring. That's right in line with what the rest of them were coming in at. So I'm going to go with it. Might as well show this struggle on film. That wasn't too bad. There it is. Everything's in and torqued. Don't mind that one. Oh, that sucks. I got a trophy to stupidity. Alright, so what did we learn today? Don't be dumb. The worst part about this is this engine, all the rings were gapped perfectly. I didn't need to take the heads off. I didn't need to take the oil pan off except to change it for one with better ground clearance. So if I hadn't done all those things, I would have been fine. But now I'm missing one piston. So anybody got one? I'm going to be looking around, see what I can buy for cheap. I don't need 4th gen, I could use 3rd gen. I don't think this motor's going to last when I start tuning it, so I'm not too worried about that. Just have to be cheap. All right, thanks everybody.